Yo, what is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 gameplay video. Hey, in this video we're going to be talking about the brand new exotic sidearm. This is called the Devil's Ruin. On paper, actually really cool. The quest for it, by the way, mega short, only going to take you about half an hour. You just do one completion of the sundial, and you claim your reward. Bingo, there it is. It doesn't even have to be legendary, just a normal sundial. You load up the tower, you press X on the old Saint 14 one time. Bingo. Next step is complete. And then you just load up the Twilight Gap on Earth, and you touch some dead people. And the Red Jacks, rather. And you're done. That's it. That's literally it. You get 10 of them, and it's done. You get the gun. Side note, at the end of this quest is some phenomenal dialogue between Lord Shaxx and Saint 14. Make sure you stick around and listen to it. It's long, it's girthy, and it is fan-freaking-tastic. Alright, now let's talk about the sidearm itself. I did upload a video real quick about this for my first impressions. Reception to it was not that great. I didn't have a lot of good things to say about the weapon, and that's not going to change, but I do apologize. I was really rushed, and I think it came across as kind of brash. My apologies. I'm not trying to make anybody upset here or pissing anyone's Cheerios. But let's talk about the gun, the Devil's Ruin. So it's got a couple of neat things going on for it, some unique perks that make it unlike any other weapon in the game, and I do think it does get some points for being a very unique sidearm. It is in the energy slot, so that's where that's going to go. And which first and foremost, a little bit of a bummer to me. I think that the things that some of the best weapons to pair with a sidearm are actually in the energy slot. So I was like, bummer. But whatever. I suppose we need more good energy weapons anyways. So here are the perks on the gun. It has this perk called Close the Gap. It's the exotic perk. Basically makes it so that you can tap the trigger, right, and shoot it just like a sidearm, or you can hold the trigger, charge it up, and release a laser beam. And the laser beam has better range than just tapping the trigger like a regular sidearm does, and has a fantastic overall time to kill. It can really shred people if you manage to land the majority of that laser beam burst. Now, if you don't land all of it, and you have to go into like a reload, you're probably going to die. So you have to be careful about that. The other unique perk on it is called Pyrogenesis. That's worth taking a peep at. What that does is it makes it so that anytime you charge up the laser, it's going to top off the magazine first. So you don't do a short laser. If you've got 2 rounds left in the magazine, you just killed somebody, you have 2 rounds left in the magazine. If you charge it up, it's going to go straight to 15, and then you'll get the full laser beam. So you don't have to worry about reloading it before you queue up the laser beam, which is admittedly pretty nice. Very, very handy. So if you're going into an engagement and you get a kill, you don't have a lot of ammo left, you know you don't have enough ammo to actually get a second kill, but there is a second opponent there, you can just charge it up and do that instead. So here you see just in the gameplay, fully charging it up. Well, there was some team fire there, so that's a little bit inflated, but it does shred if you get that full laser beam. It has a fantastic time to kill. And some of the early clips that were circulating on social media about this thing showed it in private match settings, and the time to kill just looked OP, looks broken, and I've seen a lot of feedback. People are like, man, this takes primary ammo, this is going to be busted. A couple of things to bear in mind. First and foremost, it takes primary ammo, yes, but primary ammo drops less frequently than green in the Crucible. So in the Crucible, the ammo thing, not going to be an issue. In my experience, I played with this for several hours. The time to kill is also not going to be an issue, because in order to get that ridiculous laser beam shredding time to kill, a couple of things have to happen. A, you have to charge it up first. Guess what? This thing charges up more slowly than high impact fusion rifles. So an Air and Till charges up faster. And there's a lot of Air and Tills out there right now. Wise and Rebuke charges up faster. So charge time on it is pretty slow. So to get that full, that full burst into somebody, man, the right parameters have to have the right things have to happen, right? You have to predict it correctly. You have to commit to that full charge up. One thing worth noting is you can charge, release, and not get it all the way charged up, and you'll just dump a couple of bullets when you do that, each time you do that, but it's not going to matter, because when you choose to commit to it, you're going to go back to full magazine anyway. So I found myself doing that quite a bit. Bzz, release, and then commit. Bzz, let it go, right? But here's the bad. It does a little over 50 to the head if you're just shooting it like a regular sidearm, but frankly, it's just not nearly as good as legendary sidearms. If you're going to use it as a sidearm, it's not quite as good. Why? Well, you're losing out on all the other perks you can stack on a sidearm that this one does not have, right? You can get things like Zen Moment. You can get things like Swashbuckler. You can get all kinds of great, fantastic perks on sidearms that you don't get on this one, which is a bummer. It does have good hipfire accuracy, at least. At least there is that. But in terms of just being a sidearm, I would literally take any of my other legendary sidearms over this one because of all the other things I'm getting with those. And quite frankly, I get more consistency in hit registration as well, I feel like, out of the other ones, which is worth noting. Another thing is, you know, I see a lot of people comparing this to like trace rifles and having a great time to kill. But man, I just think it's so situational. I played in some lobbies against some pretty good players today, and this thing just it could not compete. I mean, I was working so hard just to stay up with the boys running the meta stuff. I don't see this thing, quite frankly, I don't see this thing having any real presence in the meta in a couple of weeks. I think it's just going to be gone, quite frankly. It's just not good enough. It's not good enough to warrant your exotic slot. It's not good enough to warrant your energy slot. Some of the best weapons and most popular weapons in the game right now fit in that energy slot. This one just it can't compete. In my opinion, it can't compete. And I know a lot of people are in that honeymoon phase and saying, no, this thing's fantastic. Yeah. Well, it might not be terrible. I think it's mediocre. I'm not saying it's god-awful, but it's just not, it's not that great. And I think that honeymoon phase is going to be over pretty quickly, and I think people are going to catch on to that. There's just so many things in that energy slot that outplay this thing so consistently. Aaron Till, you don't have to be accurate with. It's got spread, charges faster, can have backup plan. You don't have to track the target and spray a hose into him. You just whoop one time and it's done. So, anyways, I hope that's helpful for you. I hope you guys get your hands on this thing. It'll only take you about 30 minutes to do it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope to catch you in the Crucible.